Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie for those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight, Australia, season 11, episodes 21 and 22. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So sorry I wasn't here yesterday. It was just a rough day. But here we are. We are back. So we're going to start at the commitment ceremony. We have Ellie and Ben who are forced on the couch, and they rehash whatever debacle they had at the dinner party the night prior.
What Ben's telling them is all kindness and positivity, but you're not seeing what I've been experiencing.
Trying to ask to be like in the relationship again, and then at the dinner table you told all of us that you see her as a friend.
Am I going crazy? Is the very definition of being gaslit.
I can understand.
No, I don't think you do. Would you think it's a good idea to give her a list of the things you hate about her? We looked high and low for an ideal match for you. We got you one, and you dropped the ball. You need to start owning your behavior.
I'm so glad these two finally decided to leave this relationship. Why Ellie stayed as long as she did is beyond me, okay? But she's finally come to her senses. Ben has stopped the act. Guys, don't give his podcast these views. Please, please don't. Because we know he just came here for a platform. And if he gets it, I'm going to be very mad. But anyways, word on the street is Ellie is dating a husband from this season. I'm not going to say who in the comments if you already know. And I know some people already know. Just don't say it for the people who would like to stay in the dark. But yeah, I think her new partnership makes a little bit more sense. But I'm not going to say who because the guy is still in the show. So there's a little hint for you if you want to figure it out on your own, who it is. So yeah, they're done. Great. A few couples here who didn't really sit on the couch for too long. Eden says that she wants a little bit more affection from Jaden. However, they are both falling in love with each other. Cassandra and Tristan are seemingly out of the friend zone. They even kissed while they were on the couch. Jade and Ridge might be, very surprisingly, the front-running couple. And it's all thanks to Ridge. Truly. I'm shocked. Gobsmacked, if you will. Wow. All right. Then we have Timothy and Lucinda. They're still getting pushback from Jaden, but Timothy, you can sense, has warmed up with Lucinda. We love that. And then you have Sarah, who feels like she is too much for Tim, but beyond that, they say that they are in their best era right now. So good for them, I guess you could say. That doesn't last long, but let's just say good for them for now. Then we have Andrea and Richard. They are still feeling the tension between them, and unfortunately, it's not sexual tension.
There was no shift since the last time we sat on the couch. Where's the intimacy, man? Like, you're not trying, and I said that to Andy. I've been in a relationship for 5 weeks with somebody who has no feelings for me, and I have feelings for her. I don't have the feelings for you. That's what she said.
I meant I'm not feeling the intimacy.
They are both asking for validation. I'm not quite sure what kind of validation Andrea is looking for. However, with Richard, it seems like he needs a lot of verbal and physical validation, but physical in terms of sex. If they are not having sex, he feels undesired. And he says verbal, but I feel like she gives him that verbal validation. We saw it at the family meetup, but that just wasn't enough for him. It makes me think back to when we first met Richard, and he talked about not putting his age on the apps and typically dating younger women and stuff like that. I think it makes sense because, I mean, no offense to us younger people, but a lot of us are more malleable than a woman of Andrea's age, right? So you can kind of mold that person into who you want them to be. And I think he's used to that. I think he's used to asking for things and receiving it rather than having somebody who has lived the life like Andrea, is kind of set in her ways for the most part. Like you can't, there's not as much leeway as there would be with somebody who's significantly younger, which is what he's used to. So yeah, I do think that them looking for validation is valid, but I think the way that Richard expresses it is coming out in an immature way, and it makes me think, is that why he goes for younger women? This is all a reach. I'm not saying, come on now. That's just where my mind goes. Let's move on. Then we have Steven. Steven makes it clear that Michael is objectively attractive. However, subjectively, he was looking for something different.
On paper, it is perfect.
But are you attracted to him?
Michael's a little bit more feminine than what I am drawn to.
Like, I've given it my all, but I feel like I've been kind of actually misled now.
I would assume if somebody sees their partner as being too feminine, I don't think there's any coming back from that. Is there? Me as a straight woman, if a guy isn't showing me the masculinity that I would describe as a masculine man who I would want in my life, there's very little he could do to change my mind about that. They seem to think that there's a possibility to grow their attraction for each other. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. And then I even noted in the last video that Steven and Michael haven't really kissed since the wedding. And if they kiss in the honeymoon, it's just like little pecks here and there. It's not really anything with some passion or fervor for each other. So I think they're kind of at a standstill. And I don't know if there's any growing from here. But they're hopeful, so maybe let me be hopeful too. Then we have Lauren and Jonathan, who have worked through the dinner party drama. However, sexual attraction from Lauren? There's too many shows with similar names. Lauren has died.
Everything I've asked for, you've given to me. But I think I am struggling with that spark with our personalities.
I have kind of felt like it's just your wall up though. You literally light up the room, like you're the funniest person I've ever met. But I just don't get to see much of that one-on-one.
Have you guys really connected on that deeper level?
No.
No.
Honestly, I think that they should wrap it up. They've been together for over a month now, and you mean to tell me y'all haven't gotten deep? Y'all are still having surface level conversations? Y'all don't have any kind of sexual attraction to each other, seemingly? What's the point? What's the point? Even if they were at least friends, it could be something, but it doesn't even seem like they're friends. They're just people who are forced to be in this experiment together and are just trying to see it through for as long as possible. Just wrap it up. Wrap it up. It's okay to give up sometimes. It's all right. You can give up on this relationship, okay? We have Tori and Jack, who are last on the couch. And apparently Jack didn't realize that Tori was taking the relationship as seriously as she was. I don't know what you thought this was, sir. Feelings get involved. So of course Tori's feelings get involved. But then Tori herself, she's so delusional. She's just saying things that are not making sense to me, not making sense to the group, not making sense to the experts, but it's all in an attempt to defend Jack.
Timothy was sitting at the end of the table with this smug look on his face. Smug is sneaky and sneaky is disingenuous, and I don't like disingenuous people. He said to Jaden that you are nothing. That comment there is just as destructive as the comment Jack made last week. No, hang on. That's hurtful to me. That's hurtful. That would hurt me. That would cut me deep.
Where are you at with everything right now, Jack?
Pattern I have had is disappointing previous partners, and
because you're preempting that this is going to fail, and that's what I think we're worried about.
Now that you've made that comment, I'm like, if you want to go, go now.
Boom.
What I will say is I do believe that Timothy's words can be as destructive as Jack's words. The issue for me lies with Tori having more energy for Timothy than she did for Jack. As a woman, you would think that Jack's words would hit harder for her than the things that Timothy had said to Jaden, but she's just on this, I'm going to be Delulu for my man. I don't know why. Yeah, she's on this trip and she's not, I don't know what's wrong with her. Something's wrong. So Tori has been choosing not to hold Jack accountable. And now it's being thrown in her face because the man doesn't even like her for real. He says he likes her. He says that maybe she likes him more than he likes her, but we know he doesn't like her. So here she's been caping for a man who doesn't even like her, pretending for a man who doesn't even like her, defending a man who doesn't even like her or respect her, if we're being honest. But maybe that's too much. Maybe let's not go there. So anyways, in the next episode, you have all the couples talking about their skepticism when it comes to Jack. But here we have Miss Bird, Miss Tori, still defending this man.
He is prepping her for breakup.
100%. That's exactly what it was.
Jack is not interested in Tori. That's my feeling.
I went to the red flag store and they're out of red flags because he's got them all.
I was obviously taken aback by you feeling like I liked you more than you liked me.
Oh my God. But I feel like we align intimately at the moment. Feelings-wise, I could have more feelings for you in a week's time.
Yay.
I haven't called Tori a bird in a long time, but honestly, this is peak bird behavior. Peak bird behavior. You're gonna pretend as if everything is okay when you know that it's not. You literally just told him the night before, like, if you wanna go, you can go. So obviously there's a rift in your relationship that you just don't wanna address. And I think back to when we first met Tori, she was talking about there's a bulldog in me. Where? Because honey, it's giving poodle. I don't know about dogs. Whatever is a very docile dog, that's what it's giving. Okay? It's giving a walkover. Let's move on from Tori before I lose my mind. So apparently Steven has been out here flirting with a hairdresser. Michael has found out and he's now accusing Steven of being a cheater.
On the ride home, I could see him sitting back texting, smiling, and he was talking to the hairdresser.
I feel shit, but it was like a clarity, like, that's what's missing. I'm not doing any of this to hurt you. It's so much easier to get flirty with them than I did with you after knowing you for 2.5 weeks.
Obviously.
Once I stopped looking at how beautiful Steven was, I saw right through his BS, because he's been making excuse after excuse for why he can't fully be engaged in this relationship. And now he's flirting with another man and he's not even denying it. Like, he's fully leaning in like, yes, I did do that, but that's because you think there's anything you could say to excuse it. You're in an experiment with somebody. Like, come on. Sure, people don't really take the experiment thing seriously, Cece, Jack, but there's another person involved. You don't have the courtesy to at least let them know, hey, I mentally checked out. Let me end this. And then you can start your little flirt mans with your hairdresser. And another thing, this hairdresser better not have any resemblance to Michael's aesthetic, to Michael's demeanor at all. Because his problem with Michael is that Michael is too feminine, right? This hairdresser better not be feminine. Hairdresser, come out the woodwork. We want to see you. The mass budget has increased, honey. This year, they are going to Byron Bay. Sometimes I hear Bane. Sometimes I hear Bay. I don't know. The accent this time has really had me stumped. Typically, I understand what y'all are saying. You lost me this time. So we have not Tori. What's the names? Lauren, Timothy, and another blonde girl, Sarah, who are talking about their skepticism when it comes to Jack. And apparently there's some tea that people have been holding on to that they're now choosing to spill.
Why in week 1 would Jack show me pictures of his ex and how hot she is?
As I was walking away, he kind of tapped my butt, but I'm like, was that purposely? Jack was apologizing to Lauren at the dinner party.
Jack kissed you on the neck. That is 100% a dog act.
We're going to...
How do I say this?
If that hurts her in that way, I'd be
She's coming, she's coming.
If Timothy had this tea this whole time, why didn't he tell somebody? Why didn't he say something? This would have added some weight to his claims that Jack isn't physically attracted to Tori. He could have used this back then, but okay, I guess we're only finding out now. And then when it comes to Sarah talking about being sexually assaulted by Jack, I'm of two minds. A part of me is wondering, if he did those things to you, girl, why didn't you say something to production or something, at least to your husband? Girl, tell somebody. But then I'm reminded of times when I've been sexually assaulted and I chose to keep it to myself, child, which was very bad for my mental health, but it happens often. So yeah, if those things really did happen, that is very sick of Jack and very sad for Sarah. I'm glad that it is coming out, and I hope that he gets exposed in real life too, because I highly doubt this is the only time he's done something like this, if in fact this is true. Moving forward, Steven and Michael talk about the hairdresser situation in front of the group, and Sarah, Is Sarah defending Steven?
I felt like it was a massive, like, emotional cheat there to me.
I feel so guilty about that.
He's physically repulsed by me.
If all of us just went off a physical spark, none of us would be in happy relationships.
He's tried for 3 weeks to really...
No, he has not.
Hold
That's
on,
the thing.
hold on,
No, he has
Michael,
not.
I'm
I'm
just
saying no, he has
talking.
not. You worry about your own relationship.
Why are you being like this to me?
You shut up right now. You're getting on my nerves.
I kind of wanted more group support for Michael. I didn't see enough of it for me. Yeah, that was kind of weird. And then Sarah seemingly defending Steven. It wasn't even that she was defending Steven. She was more so criticizing Michael, which felt like defending Steven to me. Watching it back, I do have to clarify that Sarah's main point was to get Michael to realize that he is wondering why, that Steven is wondering why it's so easy for him to connect with somebody new versus somebody he's already been in this experiment with. So she wasn't actually criticizing Michael. She was trying to give Michael some perspective. Michael then got defensive, and then she didn't like that he was getting defensive rather than listening to what she had to say. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. And then she wanted Tim, to have her back, which I understand. From a partner perspective, you absolutely want your person to have your back in conflict, right? However, you were wrong in this scenario. So I'm not even mad at Tim not having her back for real, because why would he defend something that doesn't make any sense? So anyways, they're having this conflict between themselves now, being Tim and Sarah. And Tim is saying, I'm very non-confrontational, stuff like that makes me uncomfortable. But there's a way to defend your partner and not be confrontational.
I don't know, it's like the mix between growing as a person and being better and like changing who you are. I'm just not living up to those expectations or like not meeting those needs of hers. I'm definitely not really a super confrontational person.
It's about, in those moments, saying things for me and supporting me. Never want to be in a situation like that where I don't feel like my partner has my back. You have it in you. It's not that you don't, you just choose not to.
He could have easily said what Sarah was saying, hey, don't speak to my wife like that. We can handle this in a different way. Maybe let's have a side conversation, or maybe let's rehash this on another day when tempers aren't flaring or when the alcohol isn't flowing. That's a big one. But yeah, he didn't really want to come to her defense, which makes me think, yeah, he doesn't like her. He doesn't like her. Because even on a friendship level, how many times have you been in a situation where somebody who you truly have love for has been in conflict? And even if you're a non-confrontational person, you find a way to have their back. You find a way. You don't have to be the biggest voice. You don't have to go raw, toe-to-toe with the person who's yelling at your friend, your partner, whoever. But you find a way to have their back. Yeah, I don't think he likes her. And I'm hard-pressed to ask. I'm kind of scared of the answers. But I'm going to ask anyways. Has anybody in the comments been in a situation where their partner, who is non-confrontational, didn't have their back in public? I'm going to go on a whim and say that that doesn't happen. And if it does, maybe a conversation needs to be had. Maybe. Because if somebody truly loves someone, or if at the very least they have some kind of affection towards you, they're going to defend you. I hope. The couples play this game, like a get to know you type of card game. And a question comes up about what would be your biggest fear. Jaden says losing his parents, which strikes a nerve with Timothy.
I'm defensive, there was two.
To be.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I lost was myself.
I'm so proud. You're so
I actually can't do this.
Everyone has an anchor. It's generally your family. I try and make a joke of pretty much everything because it's the way that I deal with things.
Lucinda's, she's a rock. There's no question. Lucinda's a rock.
Regardless of how I feel about Timothy losing a parent, anytime I think about just the thought of losing my parents makes me emotional. Just the thought of it. So to have actually lost their parents, no matter how old you are, no matter if you are estranged with your parents or not, just the loss of a parent, it affects you in some way. It just does. A lot of people don't want to say they didn't have a relationship with their parents. It might not make you as emotional as this. You might not feel a sense of loss, but something happens in you, something. So yeah, to see him be triggered by that, it was sad. It was sad to watch for sure. I am glad that Lucinda is that rock for him. He definitely needs somebody like Lucinda. Like I said at the beginning, Timothy's blessing is Lucinda. But I feel like if Lucinda's going to be honest with herself, after a while, being with somebody like Timothy, if he stays the way that he has been throughout this experiment as we've seen him, it's going to drain her. And she's going to become a shell of herself. I still believe that. So glad that she can be a support for him. But eventually, I don't know. This one-sided type of relationship is going to wane on her. In my personal opinion, it might not be true. And I hope that it isn't. So the episode ends with Laura and Laura. See, now I wrote Laura. Is it Laura or Lauren? I don't remember. Child, who cares? Laura and Sarah are concerned about Tori and they want to bring up Jack, right? They don't really know how to do it because Tori is pretending as if everything is great. So we are left on a cliffhanger. I can assume that conversation is not going to go well, but we'll just have to wait and see what the outcome is. And then apparently there's another scandal and it's going to be Eden who finds out the secret. What could possibly come out at this point? Honestly. Actually, let me not tempt Maps because you know Maps comes with all kinds of stuff. I'm surprised we're this far in the season and we haven't had a couple swap. But who would want to swap couples anyways? Child, anyways, as always, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.